Today we're talking about the shmoney. Hi guys, hello beautiful people, welcome to my channel. My name is Janey, aka Janey of Canada, and I talk about life as an immigrant professional on this channel. So everything that has to do with studying, careers, money, get in the bag, this is where it's at. If you're interested in conversations like that, please make sure you join the family by subscribing. And if you're subscribed, what's up my people? Anyway, so this video today, I'm getting more into this conversation around money matters, because personal finance is very important, and that's usually what distinguishes successful immigrants from those who have a hard time. We know that a lot of, even in family situations, that the number one cause of divorce a lot of times is financial issues. And also I saw the statistic that only 49% of Canadian homes actually even use a budget, talk less of saving and investing. And so I have managed to save a ton, pay off my international student loans, and actually done a lot of interesting stuff, good stuff with money, that I wanted to share my journey and how I'm able to keep my financial house clean as much as possible. So pretty much in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you my top financial tools or personal finance tools that I have, as well as my bank accounts, like the different ones I have, my personal bank account, and then just tell you exactly why I love them. And so as you're watching, if there is any one you have or you like or you love, let me know in the comments. I want us to actually have this conversation together. If I have a bank account or a credit card that you don't like or you don't love, let me know. And as you're watching, I don't know everything, of course. I want to be able to learn from you, my family, YouTube family. So let me know if you have any recommendations or something I should definitely check out. And so without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay guys, so I just wanted to say really quickly that this video is not in any way sponsored by any of the brands that I mentioned their name. I really have just used their product. I still use their product as of the time of this video, and so I'm only commenting about it from an unbiased opinion. However, for certain accounts and certain products that I have a referral code for, I'm going to be giving you the tea. I'll drop the links in the description box where you can, if you are interested in opening that same account after you hear what I love about them, you actually get to get some points or some bonus from using my referral code. Okay, let's get into it. So the first account, and I'll say is like my main account or bank account that I have and I use, is my TD all-inclusive account, which comes with a checking account, a savings account, and a credit card. But I'll focus on the checking account. Reasons why I love this account pretty much is it doesn't cost me money. I'm frugal. I don't like to waste money where I don't see the point. So a lot of bank accounts in Canada typically have a monthly fee. And to be fair, this one actually does too. It's supposed to charge $29.99 per month. However, if you maintain a certain balance, I believe it's $4,000 in this account right now, you get that waived. And with that comes additional perks like having access to checks, having access to getting what's it called, bank drafts and things of that sort, and not having to pay each time you get those financial instruments, I guess. And so I really love the bank account. But I have to also say, it's one of those things as a newcomer, when you come, usually you just open a bank account that somebody you know or has. And so I went to TD because my brother at the time used TD. But so far, so good, to be honest, when it comes to, I've had this account for coming to 6 years. There's times when I dropped down to the lower tier where maybe I only had to have $3,000 as a balance in account to get my fee waived. But all in all, I don't see it as a problem. And usually I look at that $4K as my $0 in my mind. So I never have to go overdraft, but also is a way to actually keep some savings. Some people will tell me, I know some of my friends will say, oh, you're just wasting that $4K that could be in an investment pool. I don't know, you let me know. But that's what I really love about that account, is that I don't get to pay for it. And also I don't have limitations when it comes to the number of e-transfers, e-transfers I can make, or how many transactions I can make in a month. I don't want to be restricted by any of those things, and that's why that account is unlimited and it works for me. Obviously the savings account portion of that bank account I don't really use, to be honest, because if anything, if you don't know anything really about the top 4 or the top banks in Canada, being TD, CIBC, Scotia, BMO, And most of the brick and mortar banks, traditional FIs, financial institutions, the interest rates they have on savings accounts is pretty much 0 to nothing. It's 0 point something something, and that is not typically the best use of a savings account. And so because of that, I will tell you about the savings account I use next that actually gives me something, which is my beloved, again, I love this bank. It's called EQ Bank. Equitable Bank, I believe, is the full name. EQ Bank is a forward-thinking type bank. It does not have a brick and mortar space. It's purely a digital bank. However, they have really competitive interest rates for their savings accounts. Now they also have RSPs and TFSAs, and that is a whole other conversation. If you don't know what RSPs, retirement saving plans, and TFSAs, tax-free savings accounts are, and you want me to just share about that, let me know. But so when I signed up with EQ Bank for my savings account, at that time they were marketing a 3% interest rate, if I remember correctly. However, I guess the other banks in Canada got jealous, and in Canada pretty much there's a regulatory Bank of Canada that keeps everyone in check, and so Bank of Canada reduced their rate now to 1.25% interest, which is still better than 0 point whatever though. So that's where I keep my I use as my high interest savings account and put emergency funds. So funds that I want to use in the near term that I don't want to be affected by the volatility of the investment market or whatever, I put it in my EQ Bank. So money I want to use to travel, VEX money, like some Nigerians or Africans would say, is where that sits. And in case it's in money, emergency fund, that's the bank account that I use. Okay, also what I love about it really is that there's no hidden fees. I don't get charged for the account. It's actually free. It's just a brick and mortar store. I don't use it for daily transactions. That is my TD Bank, so it's just mostly to keep and grow money that I want to be there when I need it. Also, there are tools that I have used where you buy a GIC. A GIC is like a guaranteed income investment certificate or income certificate. One of those things, but it's pretty much where you can get like a locked interest rate on a certain amount you leave in an account for a while. For instance, when we were trying to get married, I wanted to leave our wedding money in a GIC so we can appreciate by a little bit, and I did that with EQ Bank just because it had a little bit better interest rate. Enough about EQ Bank. If you're interested in opening an account, link in the description. The next I'll say bank that so those are my two main banks. So I'll now go into like my credit cards, because this is another interesting piece, especially for immigrants. So for credit cards, like I mentioned, my TD account comes with a credit card, and that's usually my main credit card. It's a cashback, no credit card fees credit card, so I get cash back for my expenses. It's not like greatest or phenomenal, because again you have to look at the perks of credit cards. Credit cards that typically have really dope benefits usually charge a fee, and so this is just our no frills, if you will, credit card that I use, the TD regular cashback credit card, entry level, no fees. It works, and that's why we use some of our expenses. But my absolute favorite credit card ish right now is my American Express Cobalt Card. First of all, I know when people hear American Express, they think you're bougie. Now, like, this card is American Express's way of tapping into the millennial new generation market who wants some piece of the eliteness of the American Express brand, but cannot really splurge on like a platinum or gold card, which typically have higher card fees or membership fees. I think card fees too. And so this card, I pay, I believe, $12.99 a month for the card. This is the only card or account, if you will, that I actually pay for on my personal side. I'm not talking business in this video. And so everything, all my accounts are free except this one. All my regular cash accounts, I should add, are free except the Amex, but it really pays off if you use the card well, because with American Express you can get points for purchases such as groceries, restaurants, gas, things of that sort that accumulate, and you can now use those points to buy really dope gifts, or even things like buying a plane ticket travel. Recently I just pulled out some of the points, 80 something thousand, and I was able to pay almost full round trip ticket to go all the way back home to Nigeria. So when I was like, what? And when you're accumulating these points, it actually feels really good. Or no, when you're redeeming these points, it feels really good. So I recommend those points, that card, to anyone who's looking for a good way to accumulate points. I'll put a referral link in the description. If you want the link also, just in case I can't put the referral link in the description, let me know and I'll send it your way. Anyhow, those are my 2 credit cards. I've talked about the thing about credit. Like, one thing you need to be worried, I think I've made a video about credit and things you need to know before you take a credit card. Not everyone needs 2 credit cards. You need to know things about your limits, your balance, all of that sort. Please check out that video and I can go in depth more about how to use credit right. Okay, so but I'm not going to go too much into that. The next accounts now I'm going to talk about are like my investment accounts. And so my investments really sit in 2 places, which is one, TD. I have a direct investment. So and maybe I should make a whole video of like my investment strategy. So I'm a DIY queen. I like to tell people that. So I didn't believe in paying I got financial advice from a professional before I started to understand things like my risk tolerance, to understand what indexes, ETFs, mutual funds, all of those terminologies mean. And then I decided what worked for me. So 2 things that I do is I do something with TD direct investment, where I go in and I actually pick out indexes. So indexes are pretty much accumulation of mutual funds that match a market, and then you just buy that in percentages. So I do that with my TD direct investment. I love it because I actually get to be in control of my own investment. I can see how much it's making, how much it's losing, and I pay a very minuscule management expense ratio fee, MER fees. Meanwhile, if you go to a regular bank or insurance company like the Sun Life's, Life, a human being is going to be paid for managing your portfolio, and that usually has higher MERs. That, yes, is hidden in your investments, but it's still money that should be going to your pocket. And so that's my one investment account. And then my second investment account is my beloved Wealthsimple. Like, if you are a millennial or a Gen Z and you don't know about Wealthsimple, where have you been? Anyhow, Wealthsimple is a robo-advisor or advisory investments organization. But actually, investment is just one of the things they do, because they have Wealthsimple Cash, Wealthsimple Save, and a couple other things, and Simple Tax, which I will talk about taxes in another whole video. But where was I? Wealthsimple. The Wealthsimple Invest is an opportunity for you to get investing in with a robo-advisor. All you need to do is say, okay, how much do you want to either retire with, or whatever you want the money to do for you long term. Again, investments typically are a long-term strategy. Like, no one, if you're doing short-term things, it's usually gambling, but I digress. Anyhow, so with investing, they'll ask you what your long-term strategy is, what is your tolerance for risk, and how much do you want to contribute to your portfolio each month. And then once you do that, it auto invests it for you. You don't need to worry about what it's doing, and it just either goes up, goes down, but just it works. You don't have to worry too much. So I have an account with Wealthsimple that does that, and I just contribute on a frequent basis to that. I love it because it's simple, it's easy, it's actually really, the user interface is really beautiful on the eyes as well. And then it not only is simple, easy, but if you want more information about your portfolio, it's always readily available. And all of this you don't need to get on the phone with anybody for. It's usually just easy to see your information. So that is that on cash, credit, and investment. Now, the next personal finance tools I'll talk about really is the ones that I use to monitor my money, see where it is, as well as my credit. So my number one money monitoring tool is the Mint app. Mint is free, and this is, again, like I said, not a sponsored video. I just want to share what's going on in my world. Mint is free, so I used to use my budget sheet, and I still do, to be honest. So I started with a budget sheet. Insert screenshot here. You can actually get that budget sheet on my website today, because I wanted to first take control of my money, understand where money is going to, where it's coming from, and what I'm doing, and plan right. And then I transferred that information from my budget sheet to my Mint app. So now, with all my accounts loaded or connected to Mint, every day I can track my net worth as it's increased over time, as well as my spending as it happens in real time, and which account it's coming out from. You can also see your loans on there, your investments. It's just a good way to have a good financial picture, dashboard, snapshot of your money as it is today. I absolutely love it, and they keep upgrading and updating features, which is just kudos to them, especially for an app that I get for free. It's dope. And then the apps that I use for my credit score, you have to also be, as an immigrant, on top of your credit score. Your credit is pretty much what they use to judge your, what's it called, not just stability, but your trustworthiness when it comes to accessing a lot of services. As your credit score grows, the amount of free stuff you start to get, you're like, why me? Yeah, because then the government, the system start to trust you more with loans and other financial benefits. So you have to stay on. I usually advise people to stay on top of your credit scores. And how I do that, and people say there's usually a myth around, if I check my credit scores, does it reduce the point? Only if there's a hard pull, meaning like a lender is trying to check your credit for a potential loan. That's usually when it affects by a little bit. But if you're using free credit monitoring services, then it shouldn't affect your score. So the two apps that I usually use are Credit Karma, and that one shows me my TransUnion score. And yes, there's actually two credit scores. I used to think there was one until recently when I realized everyone has two credit scores. TransUnion is one of the bodies that does one of the credit bureaus, and Equifax is another credit bureau. So I use Credit Karma, which shows me my TransUnion score, and I use Borrowwell, another app that shows me my Equifax score. And it's important to also see your Equifax score, because recently I found out that a lot of lenders, like banks and things like that, use your Equifax score in determining, wow, that was a hard word, your credit worthiness. And so those are, again, just wanted to give you a snapshot of my personal finance apps, tools, bank accounts that I use. Let me know if you have any questions about any of them specifically. If you're going to try them, let me know. I want to know. Even if you use the link, let me know now. Plug me. But also, if you have any recommendations on things I should definitely check out, please leave it in the comment as well. If you're going to use any of the stuff, like I said, let me know. And I hope you like this video. If you do, please give it a thumbs up. And if you love it, please subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.